We have a 36 volt Rollgood se104 scooter that needs a new battery. So first we're gonna remove the plastic battery cover plate by unscrewing the 3 screws on the left and right and bottom of the scooter. I removed the faceplate. Now that we removed the faceplate, we take out the controller and the wires. The battery is behind all those. Okay, so we took out the controller and now you can see the battery in there. And now you could pull out the battery by pulling the wires, or if the battery is too tight, don't pull the wires because you might break the wires, but you can pull it out with a rod, or you can shake it around to loosen it. Now that you took the battery out, you can unplug it from the controller and from the charging port. And this is our new battery. That the same way we unplugged the old battery, we plugged the new battery into the same plugs of the controller. Plug this into the plug of the controller here, and we plug this is the charging port that goes into the faceplate. Make sure to put some foam on the battery so it's nice and snug when you put it back into the scooter so it doesn't shake around. You can use any kind of other packaging too, like plastic or paper, anything that just keeps the battery from shaking around after you put it back in the scooter. So we're putting the battery back in, making sure to avoid all the wires. Don't put pressure on any of the wires when you're putting the battery back in. So we plugged in the battery back to the controller with this plug, and then we're gonna test, make sure that the battery is working. So you see everything turned on, press the throttle, the motor is running, so the battery is good. We just have to close everything back up. We push the battery back and then tuck in all the wires and the controller back in here. Make sure you don't damage or crimp any of the wires while you're doing that. Be careful with that. So we plugged in the battery back into the charging port. And this is the faceplate that we're gonna attach back. And before we close it up, we're gonna test to make sure the charger is working. Plugged in the charger, and then we see that the charger is charging because the charger light is red after we plugged it into the wall. So we're putting the wires back in with the controller. Be very careful during this part, because if you damage any of the wires by pushing them or something, then you will have to repair the wire. It'll take a longer time to diagnose which wire is broken. Once you get the controller in, then you wiggle the wires around just enough to get enough space to close the faceplate back up. So we're gonna put the faceplate back on and then put the screws back on the left bottom and right of the faceplate. Putting the screws back on. So now that we close the faceplate, we can test the scooter one more time. Make sure we didn't damage any of the wires. Test the brake sensor should also be working so that when you press the throttle, nothing happens. Then we apply silicone waterproofing material again to prevent water from going into the place where the wire enters the faceplate. Applying silicone to the rest of the faceplate to make it prevent water going in.